Silicon Valley investor and Elon Musk buddy is estimated to be worth somewhere around $100 million, a large part of it due to an investment he made in Uber in the early days of the company. Rather than just counting his blessings and going off to enjoy his riches, Calacanis spent the week attacking post office workers who actually have to labor for a living. He posted on Twitter, quote, "Dear Doge, the USPS is outdated and a complete waste of time for 90% of Americans." Calacanis then recommended reducing mail service to just 1 day a week, requiring Americans to pay a fee to be part of the mail system, and firing every single USPS worker. When someone responded to him with a "fuck you," Jason elaborated in a follow-up tweet that read, quote, "Number one, please explain which Americans need the USPS in the era of email, Amazon delivery, UPS, FedEx, DHL, etc. Number two, please explain why it needs to be 5 or 6 days a week instead of once a week. Number three, anytime you want to say fuck you, come see me in person, you little bitch." Okay, first off, fuck you. And if I ever see you in person, I'll be happy to say it to your face too. You know, Jason, it's hard to keep up your tough guy shtick when you look like this. You couldn't intimidate a hamster, you weak shitbag. Anyway, in the replies to Jason's post, people were a lot more generous than I would have been and patiently listed off all the reasons why the post office and daily mail delivery is necessary. For a lot of the population, especially older people, it's how they receive and pay utility bills. It's also how people get life-saving medication, and reducing the service down to just 1 day a week could put a lot of those people at risk. Folks still send letters and gifts through the mail. Legal documents are often sent through the post office as certified mail. And people who live in rural areas where it's not profitable for companies like Amazon and UPS to deliver to, the only way they can get packages and essential mail is through the US Postal Service. Also, it's just a good network to have in the US that connects everyone. It predates the United States itself, and it shouldn't be destroyed just because some rich jagoff in Silicon Valley thinks corporations should extract more rents off delivering the mail. Jason is ideologically committed to making the lives of people who are poorer than him more difficult. Earlier this month, he endorsed the Doge mission to erase government spending, including spending on critical areas like cancer research. Any so-called savings from that will, of course, just go toward tax cuts for rich people like Jason. He posted, quote, "Until we balance the budget, I'm literally for randomly cutting everything by 10 to 35% and seeing what happens. At least on this scenario, we live to fight another day." Well, not the kids with cancer. They might not. You might, Jason, because you're a rich guy who doesn't rely on things like food stamps to feed your family. You can afford to see what happens. Most everyone else can't. Calacanis added, quote, "By the way, this is what happens to individuals who go broke. Credit cards turn off and Netflix gets paused." Yes, but the government is not an individual. It can print its own money. It's not going broke. This is not economic. This is ideological. And what makes all this so more rich dickish is that the second Calacanis and his wealthy friends faced hardship, he was immediately calling for a government bailout. This happened back in March 2023 when Silicon Valley Bank collapsed, thanks in part to irresponsible lending practices to people just like Jason. Calacanis logged onto Twitter and hyped up the threat of a bank run, posting, quote, "You should be absolutely terrified right now. That is the proper reaction to a bank run and contagion. POTUS and Secretary Yellen must get on TV tomorrow and guarantee all deposits up to $10 million, or this will spiral into chaos." Yeah, that's a bailout he's calling for. Government already insures accounts up to $250,000, and everyone who uses banks knows that. There's a sign in the bank that warns people of that. Rich people who want to hold more than that in their accounts are assuming risk. They could have diversified their holdings across other banks or purchased extra insurance to cover those deposits. Instead, people like Jason screamed for the government to save them, which it ended up doing. You would think that experience would have taught Jason something about personal responsibility and the role that the government can play as a backstop to keep people secure, like through social welfare programs. But no, 2 years after his bailout, and Jason's calling for painful spending cuts and laying off the entire post office workforce. All while he now podcasts for a living. Not that there's anything wrong with podcasting per se, I just have a problem when whiny millionaires do it. One last thing about Jason, and a reason why he should enjoy his wealth in obscurity. The dude was a known associate of, that's right, Jeffrey Epstein. He reportedly was introduced to Epstein through Musk. Jason's name was in Epstein's list of clients, and he's admitted to visiting Epstein's home. In an email to Bloomberg, Jason said of Epstein, quote, "He gave me some advice at his townhouse once when I was raising money for the magazine. He thought I should think bigger. His living room was the size of a hotel lobby." Huh, interesting. What else were you doing in his home, Jason? Jason Calacanis. He's this week's Rich Dick. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos. Also, if you want to see Means Morning News in its complete form, not just the clips we post here, head on over to Means TV and get access to all our new episodes and our entire backlog, plus tons of other great movies and original TV shows.